IVM.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Musafir Stories, India's very own travel podcast, where each week we discuss the story of travelers in their own words and relive their experiences with you, our listeners.
Welcome to another new episode of the Musafir Stories. Before we start today's episode, Saif and I would love to wish all our listeners a very, very happy belated Independence Day. Today we travel with Anshul to a place which has history dating all the way back to the 5th century BC. On with the episode now.
So, with that introduction, we'd love to welcome Anshul Kumar, the host of the travel blog dailypassenger.com and a podcast by the same name, Daily Passenger. Anshul, thank you so much for being a part of the Musafir Stories and welcome.
Hi Anshul, welcome to the Musafir Stories.
Hi, Saif and Faiza. It is nice to be on this podcast.
Yeah, it's a pleasure having you.
Yeah, it's been a long time plan for us also to have Anshul, who's a fellow podcaster as well. And I've had the good fortune of meeting Anshul on one of our trips from back in the day, I think, to Kochi. So good to be talking to you, Anshul. But Anshul, the introduction we gave about you is quite concise. So why don't you speak a little bit more about yourself and your blog too, please?
Hi guys, I'm Anshul. I am from Patna, Bihar, and I have been working as a writer and a digital marketing person on a freelance level for almost 6 years. Apart from that, I've been running this blog called dailypassenger.com. Primarily focuses on backpacking and solo travel, but responsible travel is also one of the things that I frequently talk about. The blog won the award of Best Communicator from Outlook Traveler Responsible Tourism Awards last year. I extended that communication on my podcast, which primarily focuses on responsible travel and different aspects of it.
Okay, great. Congratulations, Anshul.
Yeah,
and truly deserved because, your blog is beautiful and very well documented as well. All the travel logs and the destinations explained well. So, truly deserve the award.
Yeah, and also do make sure to check out the podcast, especially like Anshul mentioned, a lot of it concerning or covering of responsible tourism and also people and organizations that are doing work in this field. So thank you so much for calling that out, Anshul. Anshul, we have a usual tradition with the Musafir Stories where whenever we have guests on the podcast, we request them to take us on a journey, on an itinerary and help explore a place of their choice. So with that in mind, where would you like to take us and the listeners to today?
Today, I am taking you to the primary tourist circuit of Bihar that basically includes Bodhgaya, Rajgir, Nalanda, Pavapuri, Kundalpur, Bihar Sharif, and a few more places. But I will be focusing on Rajgir, Nalanda, and the places that surround this area because honestly, Bodhgaya is something that requires a special podcast in itself. So I won't be covering it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and just for the reference of our listeners, we have actually done another episode on Bodhgaya, so do check that out as a primer to this episode, perhaps if you'd like to learn more about Bodhgaya. But yeah, really excited to learn a lot more about Rajgir, Nalanda, and the places in its vicinity as well, given that how important it is both from a historical perspective as well as a religious perspective as well, right? So would you like to touch upon a little bit about the significance of the place too, Anshul, as to why this circuit is important?
So basically, Bodhgaya, Rajgir, Nalanda, and the surrounding places are important to Buddhists, Hindus, Jain, as well as it is a popular Sufi circuit of Bihar. The place is also visited by Sikhs. They have a Gurudwara of high importance somewhere in the vicinity. So you will see a multicultural confluence in this region.
Okay, nice.
Wonderful. And even just a little bit in terms of the historical context to this, Rajgir, which is going to be one of the first places we start off our exploration of today, has been very, very significant even in terms of it being the erstwhile capital of the Magad or the Magadha kingdom, right? That eventually became the capital of the Mauryan or the region of the Mauryan Empire. So Rajgir has been very prominent from that perspective and dates back to even some of the epics like Mahabharata. So looking forward to touching on a lot of those aspects. But for somebody looking to get to Rajgir, Rajgir or even this circuit, what's the best way of getting here, Anshul?
So now there are frequent trains from Patna as well as from Varanasi. So backpackers who come to Varanasi often include Bodhgaya and Rajgir Nalanda in their itinerary, because there are trains that will take you to Bodhgaya in 3 hours and to Rajgir in I think 3 or 4 hours equally. So there are individual stations that where you can get down. And a lot of what backpackers do there are no hostels and such kind of backpacking hotels in these places. So what they do is they start traveling from Varanasi in early morning, and then reach Rajgir by 10 or 11 in the morning. Then they explore the entire place and then return by a train that goes back to Varanasi. I think around 5 or 6.
Okay.
Otherwise, there are trains from Patna. There are passenger trains as well as trains coming from Delhi that go all the way to Rajgir. So that is one way. There are buses from Ranchi as well as so the buses from Ranchi as well as from Patna. When you're traveling from Patna, it will take you almost 3 to 4 hours, and from Ranchi it takes around 6 to 7 hours depending on the road.
Okay. And one thing, Anshul, if you have to draw it out on the map about where these places are, would you tell our listeners about that?
So Rajgir and Nalanda are very close to the border of Jharkhand. So the place where Bihar ends and the border of Jharkhand starts. So Rajgir is in the vicinity. So when you reach Rajgir, you will realize that there is a change in the landscape. So the Chota Nagpur hills start, and everything becomes really green compared to the usual scenes that you see in Bihar. Everything is very flat and plain and farms and everything. Rajgir, Nalanda and these places are very different. Very clean, very pleasant.
Yeah, supposed to be surrounded by about 7 hills as well, right? Rajgir, that way surrounded by hills, very hilly terrain. And even in terms of distance, it's pretty close to Gaya as well as Patna, right? It's about 100 kilometers from Patna and 250 kilometers or so from Ranchi. So it's well connected from these important points. But yeah, getting here should not be a problem through trains and buses, even though trains might be a preferred mode of transport. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So this would even make for a perfect one-day trip as well for anybody who's coming from Varanasi, right?
And there is an international airport in Bodhgaya. So
Okay. And what about the best time to travel, Anshul? When is the good time to get to these places?
So the best time to travel to these places is around after late September to early March, because it gets really hot after April.
Okay, right.
So I was there yesterday and it was slightly raining. So this is the best time to go over there.
Okay, all right, great. And you did mention about for backpackers, hostels not being there, but what about the hotels and resorts? Do they, offer good hotels and resorts in this vicinity?
Yeah, there are a lot of good hotels are coming up. Bihar Tourism established 3 hotels in the vicinity. One is near Nalanda, one is in Rajgir, and one is somewhere in between. Apart from that, there are hotels in all ranges. So you will find properties ranging between 500 to 2,000 and beyond.
Okay,
that's nice.
Wonderful. So thanks for some context setting and even orientation setting, right? Like where exactly this is. Basically, this is in the state of Bihar, like you called out, and just at the border of Jharkhand, the state of Jharkhand. Now, take us with you, Anshul, and take us around. For somebody starting out on a quick, say, a weekend itinerary of this circuit, where would you start off, and what are the places one should check out?
So I would either start at Bodhgaya or straight in Rajgir. So since the circuit includes all these places, Rajgir, Nalanda, Pavapuri, Kundalpur, so Rajgir is a good starting point.
Okay.
So Kundalpur is also the birthplace of the founder of Jainism, Lord Mahavir, and Bihar Sharif is a few kilometers away. That is revered for the tomb of Sufi saint Hazrat Makhdoom Shah Sharifuddin. So yeah, so I think it's a good idea to start from Rajgir, because you will find every facility over there, from taxi to guides, everything. You will find everything in Rajgir.
Okay. And again, just quickly touching back upon the initial references I made, right, as this being the capital of the Magad kingdom. Basically, before it was moved to Patna or Patliputra, this is where the ancient city or the ancient capital was set up, right? So that way also it's really, really important. And King Bimbisara, I believe, is the one who started the city here first, and eventually, like his successors built upon it before it was eventually transferred to Pataliputra. Now, in terms of the places within the places of importance, like you called out, both importance to Buddhism and Jainism as well can be found in this ancient city. What are some of the places you would advise people who are visiting to check out?
So Rajgir has the main place that people go in Rajgir is the World Peace Pagoda, that is located on top of a hill. So to reach on that hill, you will need to use a ropeway. Okay. And this is not like an ordinary ropeway where there are like cable cars with 4 people sitting inside. It goes from all 4 sides. Till last year, the only way of communication was this chair car. So it's literally a metal chair hanging by a rope, and you will have to close it, and then it will take you all the way to the hill, and then that's the only way of coming back. So a lot of people trek to the hill who are very religious, Buddhist and Jain monks and all. So they also trek to the hill, and there is a proper trekking route over there. But if you are very adventurous, then this chair car is something that you should try.
Yeah.
Nice. And how long does the chair car take?
It takes 20 minutes, but it takes 20 minutes. But I have experienced since the time I have visited since my childhood, it often stops in between, especially during the afternoon. So you will have to be prepared for like a 5 minutes or 10 minutes of interruption.
Okay.
Yeah, interesting.
Sounds fun.
I don't know about fun, but yeah, it does feel like a little bit of a thrill factor is there when you get onto this, given that how you're describing it. But Anshul, just about the Peace Pagoda in itself, right? This is more of a recent, I guess it's come up pretty recently also, right? Around 1969, and has been established in partnership with a Japanese organization, I understand. Yeah?
Yeah.
The Vishwa Shanti Stupa. That's what it's called.
It is a series of World Peace Pagodas constructed by Nipponzan Myoji Buddhist order. So this sect has been constructing these pagodas in different parts of the world since World War II.
Yeah, this is in the aftermath of the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I think that's when, inspired by also Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, I believe that these series of pagodas started coming up, and this is also believed, I think this was the first one as well, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, this is a good place to visit, and then not too far away, right, from the center, from where you kick off your itinerary, you're saying?
Yeah, it's not too far away. I think it's almost 3 kilometers.
Okay.
It's literally in the middle of nowhere. I think they have intentionally kept it like this. There are no resorts or anything. But I think there is one park coming up that will be inaugurated this year. So apart from that, there is nothing.
Okay, cool. And in terms of the time required to explore this place, including the cable car or the ropeway car, right? How long do you think one would need?
Okay, so it depends on what you want to see. So I think you will have to keep at least 2 hours in your hand.
Okay.
Because there is there's this Peace Pagoda, there is one small Japanese temple, and there are a couple of small shrines. So if you are walking around there, then it will easily take 2 hours of your day.
Sounds good. So having started and spent some time over here, where would you suggest we move on next from the Peace Pagoda?
So from Peace Pagoda, so basically what happens is when you reach Rajgir and you have to go for sightseeing, so you will have to hire Tonga. So the
Right.
Tonga person will take like around 500 rupees and they will show you around 12 to 13 tourist places. On which the last spot is this hill.
I see.
Okay.
Yeah. So you will start from there are ruins of an ancient fort. I think Jarasandh built it during the times of Mahabharata. So start from there, and there is Jarasandh's Akhada nearby. So basically, it is about what had happened during Mahabharata. Like Krishna and Pandavas were annexing territories. So they reached Magad, and Bhim defeated Jarasandh in a wrestling contest. So the place where they fought, the ruins of that Akhada are still there.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you remember watching it on TV, I guess, right, where they battle it out in the Akhada, and Bhim basically he tries decapitating him each time, but he gets reformed, Jarasandh, right? And finally he throws his legs in the opposite directions, I guess, and that's when he defeats him based on Krishna's advice. So this is the reference, basically.
He was born in two halves. So his parents threw him away, almost abandoned him. Demon goddess Jara, she joined the body. That's why he's known as Jarasandh, joined by Jara. So there's a temple of Jara in somewhere in the town as well. So like I haven't seen a lot of Hindu temples that worship demons, but this is one temple where you will find that they worship her.
Interesting bit of history there as well. But yeah, go on, please. I interjected you, but this is one of the places, the Jarasandh's Akhada, you're saying, right?
Yeah. Apart from that, there are many mounds in the vicinity. So there were small stupas that different Buddhist monks built for their prayers. So most of them are very old and very poor condition. But yeah, they are being maintained. Another interesting place is the Swarna bhandar. So basically it's a gold storage. So it is said that some king, I think it was Bimbisar or maybe it was Jarasandh, who hid his gold inside the cave. And the mantra to open the door of cave is written in the ancient language that no one has been able to decode. So when British came to this part of India, they actually tried opening the door by using cannon. So there are two caves. One of them is like totally broken due to the use of cannon. Yeah, but the other door is like it is like prohibited from being opened because Buddhists use it for their prayers. And the government has banned that you cannot enter.
Okay. And it's quite interesting, right? Because even within these caves, there's a lot of sculptures and things like that, both Buddhist as well as to some Jainist traditions that are included within the caves too, right? That's what I looked up.
I'm not sure about Jains, but yeah, Buddhist sculptures are over there.
Okay. Yeah, some interesting caves. And I was initially confused. I think it was the Sonbhadra mines, which are in UP, which is not the same thing. It's two different things. But basically, I think the Sonbhadra mines were where recently there was a discovery of 2,000 odd tons of gold that could be possibly hidden there or mined out of there. I think so. It's not the same thing, but yeah, it's a coincidence. I think the names are very, very similar. Cool. So after stopping over here at the Sonbhandar caves, where next would you suggest we check out?
So from here you can go to there is this place where they say that when Bhim defeated Jarasandh and they were escaping from there, so Krishna's chariot's wheel got stuck. So basically the mark of the wheels of his chariot is still there.
Right. Okay. Yeah, this is also interesting, right? Almost like skid marks, you could say.
Yeah, skid marks.
But this is in rock rather than in mud or just on a surface.
It's on rock.
Yeah, so that way it's very interesting and not too far away from the previous place, the Sonbhandar caves.
Not too far away.
Now moving on from the chariot route marks, right? Where would you suggest we?
So from here you can go to Pandu Pokhar. So it also has some reference related to Mahabharata, but I don't actually remember. Basically, it has something to do with Pandavas and their father Pandu. So basically, it's a huge, big lake now. I think Bhim or someone lifted a rock, and the place from where the rock was lifted, it became a pond. So
Okay.
I'm not really sure about it, but now it has been developed as a entertainment spot for recreation spot for children.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a nice place. You can. I think boating is also happening over there now.
Okay.
Okay.
That's something to definitely check out. And also, any experience of you visiting any of these? I believe there's a few. How do you call them? Hot water springs, not necessarily hot. I
Yeah,
guess
yeah, yeah,
warm
yeah.
ponds, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So the hot water springs there are two hot water springs. I think there are three, but two of them are more popular. And these hot water springs are right next to the hotels where you will be staying. So what Buddhist people do is they take a bath in the hot water spring and then go to the hill. Yeah, and it's like not very hot, but yeah, mildly hot. And I have when I used to go there in my childhood, I used to see that a lot of people from Nepal used to visit. Since Nepal has its own sulfur springs, so I would hear that these people complaining that yeah, it's fine. Our hot water springs can boil an egg. This one is like just normal. So I used to hear these complaints from them.
Interesting. Yeah, that was one. The other interesting thing I also saw was a place called as a Vulture Hill or Gridhakota.
Yeah,
Right.
Grid is over there. Buddha used to meditate over there,
Right.
but yeah, it is not like frequently visited by tourists. But
Right.
since the World Peace Pagoda is more popular and more
Right.
accessible, so people go over there.
Exactly. This is very close to or en route to the Peace Pagoda, right? That's where this is. And yeah, finally, before we close off the Rajgir circuit, the one last interesting thing that I'd also quickly like to call upon is the Cyclopean wall, right? Basically fortifies the ancient city of Rajgir. Is that also something that is possible?
Yeah, I had started my itinerary with that only.
Okay.
So the
Okay.
fort, the ruins of the fort that only exists in some small walls around the city.
Mhm.
So those are known as Cyclopean walls.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to have stretched almost to a length of 40 kilometers, right, around the city. But I don't know. Yeah, right now it might be just the ruins of the remains.
Yeah, there are like small patches. I don't think I've
Right.
noticed that it extends to 40 kilometers. Like there are
Right.
huge walls outside on the you will see on the main road while coming to Rajgir. But inside the town there are like small patches.
Right. So that's perhaps what remains of the walls. But yeah, like again, just reiterating the point that a lot of important places, both from a historical and a religious perspective, that one can check out as a part of this circuit. Now, having spent some time in Rajgir, is there more to explore here, or do you want to move on to the next spot, Anshul?
So Bihar government is constructing this big what should I say recreation center in the town just next to the hills. It will contain a small zoo and restaurants and everything. It is primarily news because of the glass bridge.
Okay.
Like the ones you see in China and all. It's not that big, but yeah, it looks really interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, something for people to look out for, I guess. Once this is complete, you can definitely visit the center as well. Now, moving on from here, does the Tongawala basically continue this journey on, or does he drop you off at some point and you then make your way towards Nalanda?
So the Tongawala will drop you at the hill and he will wait for you. When you come back, he will drop you from at the place from where you hired him, and that will be the end of the journey. So this will take an entire day. So it's you can only go to Nalanda and Pavapuri on the next day.
All right. Okay.
So yeah, definitely enough places to check out as well. But yeah, from here, if one has to set out to Nalanda, for example, how would you say buses, or can one easily get a taxi ride, or how does one get to Nalanda from here?
So if you are backpacking, then you will have to take a bus that will drop you in Nalanda. And the point from where it will drop you, you will have to either take those battery rickshaw or tanga to reach the point where there are the point of ruins.
Okay.
Otherwise, there are taxis for hire that charge around 1,500 to 2,000, and it takes you to Pavapuri, Nalanda, and Kundalpur.
Okay. Sounds good. So yeah, it is accessible, easily accessible from here once you've completed your Rajgir itinerary. But yeah, before we set off on Nalanda, right, would you also like to just draw some context around the place? Very, very significant again, both from a historic perspective and more from a perspective that it was one of the ancient universities, right, of the region. Would you like to draw some or set some more context around this, Anshul?
Yeah, so Nalanda is always known for its university. So Nalanda University was formed after Toromana destroyed Takshila University. So since Nalanda was at a strategic point from where these Algon Huns couldn't attack, so it flourished until Bakhtiyar Khilji destroyed the place and burned it down.
Right.
So Nalanda University is said to be smaller than Takshila University because Takshila University housed some 12,000 students and Nalanda was home to around 10,000 students. But it had a lot of rare artifacts, rare books and everything. So it was a huge loss because the libraries burned out and a lot of different books on topics like Ayurveda and astronomy got destroyed.
Yeah, definitely. And it kind of rose to significance during the period of the Guptas, right? 4th to 5th century AD, I guess, around that time. And since then, it did flourish for a lot of centuries, and around the 12th century is when it was kind of destroyed by Bakhtiyar Khilji, like Anshul mentioned, and almost like a residential university, you could say, right? A lot of people a lot of the monks would actually stay there. Now, just in terms of the ruins of the place as well, right? Can you please draw to us a little bit in terms of the setup, because it has a bunch of monasteries, it has temples as well. So how was your experience visiting the place?
So the setup is like it is very expansive. So to walk around the entire area, you will need around 45 minutes to an hour. And the only reason that you should not visit in the summers is because this area especially gets really hot. Rajgir is still like the weather is very pleasant, but Nalanda gets very hot, and you will have to walk a lot. So that's why winters are recommended. So the moment you enter, you see yourself in a structure that looks like a hostel. So that's since most of the ruins are closed and they are always under renovation by ASI. So this is one of the places where you can actually go inside and see how it used to be. So there is a huge dining room and there are small rooms for students. And there are dormitories and offices and everything.
Are there any guides also, Anshul?
Yeah. You can hire a guide because if you want to understand the history of this place, so it is best that you hire a guide. And I think that compared to other UNESCO World Heritage sites like Khajuraho and Sarnath, the guide charge only still 100 rupees. So that is something that is very helpful for anyone who is interested in history but is not traveling on a huge budget.
Right. Yeah.
And I believe there's about 11 or 12 monasteries, right? These basically monasteries for the monks, and then there's 5 or 6 temples also within the complex, separated by kind of a central walkway, right?
Yeah.
Anshul, that's how it's structured. So if one is interested, you could easily spend enough time exploring each of these temples as well as monasteries. And very, very kind of different even in terms of architecture, right? This bright red brick structures almost, some of which are multi-storied also. Yeah. So that way it's really unique, even in terms of the architecture. It's a cushion style of architecture, as is what it's believed to be. In terms of the place itself, right, Anshul, you said that it was kind of between 4th to 5th century to about the 12th century is when this was really prospering and had a lot of students here. But around that time, Bakhtiyar Khilji, he destroyed it around the 12th century. And since then, it's like remained in ruins until very recently, right? I think only late 1800s and 1900s is when the Britishers actually discovered the ruins. And since then, the ASI has been actively working on restoring and kind of conserving a lot of the monument also. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, Nalanda University has been destroyed thrice, and it has been renovated twice.
Right.
So the third time when Bhattacharya Khilji destroyed it, no one took charge of renovating it because I think the Gupta, their kingdom was already in shambles.
Yeah.
So no one had like resources and money to rebuild it. So it stayed, and they're still finding new stupas around the vicinity. There is one stupa that you will see outside the complex, and there is one more stupa that you will find while roaming around the town.
Yeah, definitely. And it's also been popular for a lot of students as well as travelers from across Asia, right? Different countries in Asia that have visited as well.
Yeah, we came across this reference about a Chinese scholar also that came here. Anshul, would you like to speak a little more about that?
Yeah, Hiuen Tsang and 2 Chinese scholars visited it. Hiuen Tsang is more popular. He came here and he did a lot of research and wrote a lot of things. So he was the first, I think he was one of the first people to document India.
Right.
From China. So there is a Hiuen Tsang memorial in the town as well, in Nalanda as well. So so you will. I have never gone there, gone inside Hiuen Tsang memorial, but it has his writings and all.
Right. Yeah, we did see I mean, from the looks of it, it actually looks like you've just gone to some place in China because it's perfectly the Chinese, the architecture that is used.
Yes. Yeah, actually, this is the thing with all the Buddhist places. So since every country builds their own monastery, they try to keep their own style of construction from their country in their localized version of the construction or the building.
Right.
That's true. It's a unique mix that way also of the different monasteries within the vicinity. And like to your point, Hiuen Tsang and I think it was Yijing. Yijing is the other Chinese traveler who was here, and he spent about 10 years in the university is what I understand. And it's mostly through writings and the documentation of scholars and visitors like this that we've been able to shine a lot of light as to how popular and how famous the university was back in the day, right? So I think it's if you have the chance, you should definitely go and visit, especially the Hiuen Tsang Memorial that Anshul is mentioning about. Any other places of interest you'd like to call upon, Anshul, that in Nalanda or around?
There is a artisan village nearby. That is one place that has been mentioned in many international magazines and all because it is it promotes local handicrafts and has given an opportunity of self-employment to entire village. So that is one place that is kind of worth documenting if you are interested in how things are happening over there. Apart from that, there is a small temple where you will find a black Buddha statue.
Okay.
That's those are these places. And from Nalanda, you can go straight to Kundalpur. That is only 2 kilometers away. Okay. So there are 2 temples. So the main temple in Kundalpur is the place where Lord Mahavira was born. And before that, there is one more temple that is dedicated to another Jain Guru, Tirthankar.
Okay, interesting. So, more of a significant place for the Jain community, right? Given that even Mahavira was born here. So easily, I guess all of this can be covered off on day 2, right? And in that instance, it's not too far away also.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, having touched upon a few places in Nalanda and then also in Kundalpur, what next would you suggest one cover off if there is time?
If you reach Nalanda in the morning around 10, so you'll be free by 12 with Kundalpur and everything. So from there you can you can, or if you have had a car, then it will be the part of the package. So it will take you to Pavapuri. So it is another Jain place of importance. It's a temple that is dedicated to Shwetambar Jain community, the community that wears white. And the temple is in the middle of a lake, and there are a lot of birds, and the temple is very beautiful. It's pure white. It's just a place where you can go there and spend 20 minutes and then come back.
Okay. Not too far away, so definitely depending on how long you have as a part of your itinerary, make sure you touch upon that as well. Any more places on the circuit before we touch upon a few local cuisines, I guess, Anshul, that one can try out.
Like if you have time in your hand, then you can go to Bihar Sharif and you
Okay.
can see there are two tombs, shrines.
Mhm.
One is of Hazrat Makhdoom Shah, and there's one more. So you can both
Okay.
visit both these places and then come back.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, that's definitely a quick weekend itinerary, easy weekend getaway for somebody planning on a religious circuit, especially in Bihar, starting off after you've completed Bodhgaya. Now, what are some of the cuisines of Bihar, the local delicacies of the region that one might be able to sample and enjoy while visiting?
So litti is a staple dish of Bihar that you will find everywhere. So it is
Right.
served with chokha and bangan ka bharta. So
Uh-huh.
you will find litti everywhere. There are some places where you can also have litti and chicken. So,
Oh,
but
interesting.
yeah, but if you really want to enjoy something local, then you will have to visit Silao. So Silao lies between Nalanda and Rajgir,
Okay.
Okay.
and it is famous for khaja. So it is this sweet, crispy dish that is very light, very halka, and you can eat like 3-4 in one go. So
Okay.
yeah, it is like something that anyone who goes to Rajgir, then they buy 1 kg, 2 kg of this thing. So you will find khaja in Rajgir, but the authentic ones, the straight from the chashni ones, you will find in Silao only.
Okay.
Apart from that, if you are traveling on budget, don't have a lot of resources to eat pricey food, then
Mhm.
you will find kachori and jalebi being sold in almost every roadside hotel. And
Okay.
so basically, kachori and jalebi is a combination that is popular among Biharis. So
Yeah.
yeah, and there is a small Korean restaurant in town. I think it's pure veg right now. I don't remember the name, but yeah, I think there's this, and you will also find some sushi near the Japanese pagoda in Rajgir. I'm not
Okay, wow.
sure if it is open these days, but yeah, they used to serve sushi, vegetarian sushi over there.
Okay, quite interesting.
Awesome. And also, one of the things that I'd quickly like to touch upon, right? This travel circuit has a pretty decent infrastructure supporting it, but in general, there is always this. I don't know how much of a myth this is, or there's always a little bit of a concern for solo traveling in Bihar, right? There has been this image built up of it not being overly safe and things like that. How much of that is real versus how much of that is more of a stigma that's been attached to it? Anshul, you especially being from Bihar, can you shed a little bit of light on that?
Look, things have improved in last 5 years a lot because even locals have understood the importance of tourism. So these incidents don't happen. But if an incident like this has to happen, it will happen in any part of the country.
Sure.
Like if you're especially traveling on a day trip from Bihar, Patna, then it's a better idea to plan your travel in a way that you start early morning and reach Patna by 7 or maximum 8 in the night. The same applies for Varanasi. Like you should make your plan accordingly. Like it's better that you travel in the afternoon. Because these are still not very active towns. They are like sleepy little towns that wake up at 5 in the morning and then goes back to sleep by 7:30.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. That's some useful insights, especially given that it's always been portrayed as, or at least in the past, right? The period or an era of the jungle Raj and things not being very safe for people to move around and things like that. So that is certainly a thing of the past. And like you said, just to be safe, make sure that you make day trips to a lot of these places from Patna and are back in Patna by sunset or just after that, right? So that way it's safest. Yeah.
There are two things that you should note down. You should keep in your mind. So the first thing is when you are searching hotels online, always see how far they are from the Rajgir bus stand. Because there are a lot of hotels scattered till Nalanda that the booking websites show that is in Rajgir. And there are some hotels that are in the middle of nowhere. So make sure that you use Google Maps to see like how far it is from Rajgir bus stand. Right. And the second thing is when you're hiring a Tonga or even a car, clearly speak with that person that how many places are they going to show. Because this happened with me and a lot of other people. Like what they do is they will say that we will show you 8 places, and since there is a proper route and there are random small places in the between, so they do a small pit stop, and then at the end of the ride they will say to tell you that we showed you like 12 places. So instead of 500, maybe 700. Yeah.
Okay.
So you have to make everything very, very clear.
Yeah, thanks for calling that out,
Yeah.
Anshul. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do really hope that people do start checking this out, because it's been quite underrated also. You've mentioned though that in the past, compared to the past, now it's definitely picking up, and it's being supported by the Ministry of Tourism and the local governments as well. So that way it is good. But it's great that people are getting to explore, especially these places of really historical and religious significance also, right? Everybody gets a chance to visit them. And thank you so much for patiently calling out all of these places. And Anshul, one last time before we kind of close this off, would you like to quickly call out how people can keep in touch with your work as well as your podcast?
So all my social media handles, blogs, everything is the Daily Passenger. So my blog is Daily Passenger, Passenger with double R. I have a podcast by the same name. I have on Instagram and Twitter by the same name. So yeah, that's how you can stay in touch with me.
Yeah, we'll add all those links in the show notes section also, Anshul. So it's easy for our listeners to head over and check out your podcast and your blog and your work. So thank you so much, Anshul. It was a good trip all around. Thank
you, Anshul. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot for having me.
That was yet another great episode on the Musafir Stories. Make sure to show us some love by sharing the podcast with your friends and family. We are on Instagram and Twitter at Musafir Stories. If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM podcast app or the website. Follow us on our social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram.